Hi, this is your good friend, Bishop Bilon Kaumba Kalumbinga from Agape Christian Church in Lusaka, Zambia. Yesterday, I began a series in which I intended to discuss what is known as emotional intelligence with us. And I did mention that this subject is very, very important because it shows you the importance of maturing, okay, in your area of emotions, in your area of your social life. It's important to mature because you will always find yourself interacting with people, dealing with people. You are part of society, you are part of the community. So if you don't know how to deal with people, you will always have unnecessary problems with people. And so, one of the ways in which we can mature and get to a point where we are able to manage our relationships well with people, we are able to interact well with people, we are able to make sense to others, is to see to it that we mature in our area of emotions and the management of the same. And so, yesterday we discussed the first level of emotional intelligence, which is known as self awareness. And there are, by the way, 5 levels of emotional intelligence. Level number one is deals with self awareness, which talks about the fact that you need to be aware of yourself. You need to be aware of who you are. You need to be aware of your capabilities. You need to be aware of what you are able to do and what you are not able to do. You need to be aware of the limitations of your skills and so forth and so on. So that helps you in relating with people, living with people, and dealing with people, so that you stay in your lane. You stay in your lane doing the things for which you are architectured, doing the things for which you are designed, things over which you've got the ability to perform. And so that is very, very important. People who don't know who they are always all over the place. Okay, and you will find that they cause a lot of problems. Yeah, one of the interesting areas in which you can notice this at play is in choirs. You will see that in choirs there are certain people who do not know what voice they are supposed to sing. And so you will find they will follow auto. If along the way soprano sounds nice, then they move, they are in soprano. Along the way tenor sounds nice, then they move, they are chasing the tenor. So in the process, they create a confusion amongst others. So there are even others who are in the choir and they are not even supposed to be there, because in the choir, you need a person who has two things. You need to have a voice and you need to have a melody. But some people have a voice, they don't have melody, and they're in the choir and they cause confusions. Okay, so they sing off tune and confuse and disturb everybody else. So it's very important to be aware of who you are. So yesterday I said to you, therefore, it's important once in a while to do what is known as a self-awareness analysis. Okay, this is when you analyze yourself to get to know your strengths, your weaknesses, and so forth and so on. So you stay in your lane. Okay, and that makes life easier because whatever you attempt to do, if it is within the endowment of your skills and your gifting and your grace, life will always be easy. You will never struggle with anybody, and you will achieve things easily. So today, quickly, I need us to move on and talk about level number 2 of emotional intelligence, deals with what is known as self-judgment. Okay, so we as a human being, you must always be able to judge yourself. Okay, you must judge yourself. You must question yourself. You must question your intended actions. When you want to do something, when you want to say something, question yourself, judge yourself, okay? Question your motives. It's very important. Whatever you want to do, whatever you are planning to engage in, whatever, always judge yourself, always question yourself. Always check yourself. Is this the correct thing? Is this right? And there are benchmarks against which you can check yourself and judge yourself, and we'll talk about that in a moment from now. Okay, so you should always question yourself and see if you have justified reasons for doing what you want to do. You should always question yourself and see if you have justified reasons for doing what you want or what you intend to do. When you want to do something, take time and judge yourself. Take time and question yourself. See if you can find justified reasons why you should do this thing. See if you can find justified reasons why you should say what you want to say. That's why in the book of James, I can't give you the chapter and the verse now, but maybe I'll bring it to you tomorrow. But in the book of James, there is a place where it says, be quick to hear, but slow to answer. Okay? The reason why that scripture encourages us to hear quickly, but be slow to answer is that the gap between hearing and answering, that space is a space you use to judge yourself. It's a space you use to question yourself. Is what I want to say in response to what I have heard right? Is it correct? Is it the right thing today to say? Okay. Is my answer reactional? Is my answer logical? You judge yourself. You question yourself. And you will find that if you practice self-judgment, many times you will be a person of few words. You will not be a person who has too many words, who talks too much. Because quite often you discover that you may not need to say something because you would have judged yourself, you would have questioned yourself, and you would have discovered inside within yourself, you would have discovered that what you want to say will be a reaction. It is not like it is a logical response to whatever has been said. So you will choose instead to keep quiet or just brush it aside. And so self-judgment is very, very important. It will, when you do self-judgment, you are always aware. It will help you to be aware whether your response is just emotions boiling or your response is a logical, it is a fruit of reasoning, and so self-judgment is very, very important as you go through life. Before you do anything, before you say anything, before you execute your intentions, you must always take a little time to self-judge. Okay, and so Apostle James, thinking in line of these things, he says, be quick to hear and slow to answer. That gap there is meant for this kind of thing, so you can question yourself, so you can judge yourself, so you can ask yourself, you can weigh the stuff that you want to say or you want to do and see, is it correct, is it right, will it bring peace, what are the potentials of where it can lead and so forth. So self-judgment is very important. So I repeat this. My line here says you should always question yourself and see if you have justified reasons for doing what you want to do. A person who does not judge or question themselves will always find themselves in error. A person who does not judge themselves or question themselves as regards what they want to do or say, or as regards their intentions, these kind of people will always find themselves in error. Okay, so self-judgment, self-questioning is very, very important. Okay, no matter how brilliant an idea looks, no matter how brilliant the thought feels, always practice self-judgment. Okay, First Corinthians, and now I want to give you a scripture because yesterday I said to you that a lot of stuff that people teach in terms of motivational speaking, in terms of leadership seminars and all these kind of stuff that people do and make a lot of money out of it, most of it is from the Bible. And it's only that they choose to use a certain language which doesn't sound biblical, but then it just sounds like they are very wise, like they just discovered this thing. But most of this stuff in the world is biblical. It is from the Bible, and people get these things and expand on them, and package it differently. It doesn't even look biblical. It just looks like it's a work of research. But actually, these things are gotten from the Bible. And here, let me give you some verses about self-judgment. It says here in 1 Corinthians 11, verse 31, 1 Corinthians 11, 31, for if we would judge ourselves, we would not be judged. For if we judge ourselves, we would not be judged. That's 1 Corinthians 11, 31. So it's very important to do self-judgment. What it means is when you practice self-judgment, you will be able to know when you should do this thing and when not. And you'll be able to know whether you should do it at all or not do it at all. So you find that at the end of the day, your decisions will be very good decisions. They will be well-informed decisions. So you will save yourself from committing errors which would have led into others judging you and finding you wanting and finding you in error. So to practice self-judgment is to save yourself from the judgment of others, because it is nice to point a finger at yourself. It is nice for you to say to yourself, I think this is wrong. I can't do this. Than to have people say to you, this is wrong. It can be painful. And many times you find that the people that will be telling you that you are wrong, they themselves commit that wrong the whole time. That kind of thing. Or they have never been put in that situation, so they don't even understand what you went through. So when people judge you, it isn't nicer. So it's always important to judge yourself. When you do that, you are eliminating the room for other people to judge you, because you are eliminating the room for error. The next verse is equally powerful. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 15. It says, but he who is spiritual, he who is mature, okay, he who is spiritual judges all things, yet he himself is rightly judged by no one. Okay? He who is spiritual judges all things, yet he himself is rightly judged by no one. So it is very important. This is what makes the whole thing beautiful. As you mature in the Lord, and this is also one of the ways in which you can know a spiritually mature person and a spiritually baby person. Okay, a mature person does not wait for other people to tell them what is wrong and what is right. No, they practice self-judgment. They practice the judgment of everything else around them and that which would relate to them. And they are able to tell themselves whether this thing is right or this thing is wrong. They are able to tell themselves whether this is the right time to do this or not. They are able to tell themselves whether this is the right thing to say or not. They are able to tell themselves whether this is the right time to say anything at all or just keep quiet. Okay, so a spiritual person judges their surrounding, judges their environment, judges all things, and nobody can judge them because they would have judged themselves already and they would have made informed decisions. So it saves you a lot to practice level number 2 of emotional intelligence, which is self-judgment. Okay, and in closing, I've said here, therefore, because we have seen how important self-judgment is, I've encouraged you and said, sharpen your sense of judgment. It is therefore imperative that you sharpen your sense of judgment by reading books on self-mastery. Okay, it's very important to sharpen your sense of self-judgment and your environmental judgment and the like. And one of the ways in which you can sharpen this, skill is by reading books on what is known as self-mastery, how to master yourself, how to be in control of yourself. It is also important to read books on ethics. Ethics is a very powerful subject, very, very powerful course. Ethics basically teaches you about certain norms certain expected behaviors, in society. Okay, things, how you should conduct yourself because you live with others. You must be considerate of others. So ethics is basically about that. When you want to do something, you must always ask yourself a question: how would this affect me? Well, it will be very nice for me. It will be very fulfilling for me. It will be very beneficial for me. But before you execute, you always ask yourself, but how would this affect the next person? How would this affect my community? How would this benefit my society? So try and read books on self mastery, read books on ethics, read books on sociology. Very, very important. Above all, the book of Proverbs offers a great wealth of information on acceptable social behavior. As far as the Bible is concerned, I have read the Bible page to page, from cover to cover, several times. I try to do that twice a year. Okay, I try to do that twice a year. So I've really, and some of the books that I have seen that really would be very powerful in terms of containing information on acceptable social behavior is the book of Proverbs. It's very, very powerful. Okay, so try and find time and read that book from chapter one to the last chapter, and garner some information as relating to self-judgment. Okay, it's very, very important, and it will help you to be able to develop in terms of emotional intelligence. So always judge yourself and always question yourself. This that I want to do, this that I want to say, this that I want to engage in, is it the right thing? Is it good? Is it beneficial? Is it correct? Is this the right time? And so it's very, very important. Okay, listen quickly, delay to respond. Why? Because that space there is for you to think, is for you to judge, is for you to weigh, is for you to question, so that at the end of the day, your actions are based on logical conclusions. Your actions are based on a reason, and when you live your life like that, I can assure you, you will be a darling of society, because it will unconsciously raise you into a person that is very considerate for others. Okay, and people love people that are considerate for others. People don't like selfish people who just want to do what is good for them. They like people who want to think about others. So for today, we will stop here, and I will be back again with you tomorrow. Tomorrow, we'll be dealing with level 3 of emotional intelligence, which is motive. Okay, it's called motive. In the meantime, please look below here and just press the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel, and so you can get me every time that I am on, and you can benefit from these sharings that I give us. And I take a lot of time to research and to read and put these things together just to bless us. Okay, and just around there you will see a notification button as well. It's like a little bell. Okay, just press it so that every time something is on my page, you will be able to be notified, and you can then tune in and call your friends to tune in, and you can share the sharings as well. And so God bless you, and thank you for your time, and we will be together tomorrow. Bye bye.